Hi, welcome back. We were just talking about an event that's coming up with Hospice in October. If you talk to us again about that, Lori, if
The
you would,
Wag Your
please.
Tail on David's Trail, which we're really excited about. It's for those of you who have not been out, it's just a beautiful area and something to be so proud of in our community, and very honored that they're allowing us to use their facilities to host our event and to bring folks out.
Tell them where it is so they exactly know where it is.
It's out at Panther Bay area, and Davis Trail actually goes quite a distance through the area of the community. But where we will be hosting our event is at the beginning at the pavilion area down at Panther Bay.
And on my behalf, I personally would like to say thank you to Jackson Rhodes, who really helped get the Davis Trail started, and has paid a great tribute amongst all the other folks that have been involved to David Floyd and his wonderful family. And I'd like to thank them for their participation in this and just allowing David's legacy to live on and allowing us to be part of it. It's a very special.
Yes, it is.
It's been a lot of hard work, Jackson, and the entire Jackson Wells Fargo group and so many other people have done, and it's just an amazing contribution to this area.
Yeah.
And those of you who have not been out there, please go
It's
go
just
out
beautiful.
It is
Just beautiful. All different levels.
Absolutely.
Of terrain, and
and even just for us to kind of utilize the park part with the pavilion and just that area down there, and will be a great, and we're going to incorporate, I think, some costuming if anyone wants to dress their pet and some different things like that. So just a fun day again to raise awareness for the Pet Peace of Mind program that Hospice of the Ozarks has, but also just to get that community involvement from people who love their pets and who want
perfect time of the year, with all the hot weather we've had in the
Back to that Pet Peace of Mind project real quick. We recently placed 26 Chihuahuas from home. 26 Chihuahuas.
Now I knew when I was reading that
Kathy
information.
Weaver.
Yes.
Kathy Weaver's the Pet Peace of Mind. She's the volunteer coordinator.
Go into that a little bit more about folks.
The Chihuahuas or the Pet Peace of Mind?
About how you came about, why you were placing the dogs.
While we were again, the program, it's a grant from Banfield Charitable Trust. We are the only hospice in the state of Arkansas that has been awarded the grant and has the program. So last year was the first year Kathy applied for the grant, and we did receive the funding. And so last year was kind of a trial and error. There were over, I believe, for some reason I want to say 80 pets served through flea and tick control, rehoming for patients who did not have a plan for their pet, spay, neutering, grooming.
A lot of times, the pet, a lot of people have lost their family or they don't have family. The pet is their best friend, and you got the little dog running around here and keeps
with their reason for getting up.
So
it is. Just kind of it takes one less burden from that family, but allows them to keep their pet with them through their end of life journey. And when families are dealing with end of life issues and they're trying to enjoy quality of life, flea and tick control may not be a real high priority.
Or they may not be able to get the dog to the vet.
Sure.
But yet it still isn't so important.
Bless your heart.
It's hard.
26 Chihuahuas.
I have one of them now.
I heard a patient say the other day, it's hard being sick. It's tough work being sick. It is. You're already sick. It's really hard to get those dogs to the vet and get things taken care of. And
what a wonderful program, and what a wonderful service to offer people, because as you say, they're dealing with so much.
Yes.
And this is one less thing, one less worry.
Absolutely.
So they can have peace of mind, knowing that their loved one, their pet, is well placed or well taken care of.
And that's often a huge relief to a patient that that is my pet will be taken care of.
Yeah.
And we did Kathy recently received second-year grant funding for the Pet Peace of Mind.
Wonderful.
However, we found that there was a greater need than what I think was even anticipated. And so we still need to do that supplemental fundraising to make sure that we have what patients and their pets need. And it's just been a great success, and something that we've enjoyed talking about and working with. And And like I said, I was able to receive one of the Chihuahuas. He's a member of our home and loved greatly.
Okay. One of the questions I had for you today, too, I wanted to be sure and ask before we ran out of time. What feedback are you hearing from families in the community about those that have used the hospice services?
My biggest, what I'm hearing from patients and patients' families is I wish I would have contacted you sooner. And I wish I would have known. I didn't even know this existed. I didn't know how to, or I just wish I would have done this sooner. And I think patients feel that way because when they get to us, we help them with so many different parameters. We help them with number one, the patient's quality of life and their illness. We help the caregivers who are often depressed, tired, worn out, feeling guilty because they're not sure what to do with them. They promised not to put them in a facility, or they promised them this and that when we were young and scrappy and probably could pick people up. They made all these promises and they feel guilty about not being able to keep those promises. And when they get involved with our social work and they see us coming in helping them bathe and shower and take care of the needs and streamlining the medications, they're able to be a caregiver. They're able to be a loved one, a family member instead of a caregiver.
Right.
And we're seeing people living longer and becoming so much more debilitated that a frail little lady can't take care of her husband, and it kills her heart to think that she can't do that, and it's okay. That's where we come in. The doctors, having, from my perspective, I didn't often refer to hospice because I didn't think about it, because in medical school and residency and specialty training we're always taught to treat, fix things. We fix things, and when we almost feel like it's a failure, like death is a defeat. And so doctors often do not bring that up. At least I didn't. And I wish I would have more with some patients looking back. And I think it's important for the family and the patient to ask their doctor about it. And if the doctor thinks it's appropriate, lots of times where it's 6 months or less life expectancy, a doctor like myself feels guilty if they live, oh my goodness, I promised, I told them 6 months or less, and they lived 5 years. Well, that should be great. They lived 5 years, but lots of times the patient will say, the doctor didn't know what he was doing. So lots of times as a doctor, we don't like being wrong. so we err on the side of caution and wait till they're almost at the very, very, very last stage, and then we're getting them at the very, very end of their life, instead of 6 months to a year out, where we can have more involvement and utilize our services better. In that case where a physician is so busy nowadays, I would like for that family to call us or have the physician call me, and I can get involved and talk with the patient, because physicians now are being hit so hard with time constraints and workloads that they simply cannot spend an hour talking about end of life. It's not a 5-minute discussion.
Right. And that would be wonderful if the viewers today walk away with nothing else but that. That's exactly what they need to be hearing today. Pick up the phone.
Yeah.
Because it's really so much about quality of life, not quantity. It is really about the quality.
And I hear that all the time from patients, and it takes sometimes for a while for a family to see their loved one being miserable, to accept the fact that there are worse things in life than death, and it's living a miserable state of health. And for those of you watching this who can't understand that, I pray you never have to. But some of you and many of you, you'll understand what I just said.
And just to be able to have that education piece, I think there's a lot of myths and misunderstanding about what hospice care is, that it means you're giving up, that it means that you're immediately going to die if you go on hospice care, and that's such a falsehood from a standpoint of, yes, we do have patients that come on hospice that pass in a very short time period, but we also have patients who are able to enjoy a significant quality of life when medications are adjusted and pain is managed, and that they can have a quality of life that can be quite good.
Get
They
to
can
see
still-
everyone they want to see, talk to everyone, do what they want to do,
Right.
put
My
everything
goal,
in place.
My goal is to control their pain, control their symptoms. Our goal is control the pain, control the patient's symptoms, and hopefully keep them talking and as alert and fishing or doing whatever they can as much as possible. But so many people think that I have to have cancer to go on hospice. I have to be on knocking on death's door to be on hospice. And that's why I think we're getting such a late referral. We're getting people in the last 2 or 3 days instead of. I'd rather err on the side of caution and get them at 6 months and they live a year or two than getting them in 2 or 3 days. It's just we don't have the time to utilize our resources, our social workers, our caregivers, our volunteers, the whole the chaplain. It takes time, and we can really help the patient resign to the fact of what's going on instead of being scared about the end. Most of the patients are not scared of death. They're scared of what's happening now until I die.
What
and
happens,
once I
yes,
sit
will my wife be okay? Will my husband
Exactly.
be okay? Will my children be okay? Will the pets be okay?
Yes.
And those are all
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
that we can look at from a holistic viewpoint and work with the patient and work with the family. And
We call that advanced care planning. And a lot of people have said, yeah, I don't want to be on life support. Well, that's the easy one. It's all the other issues that people are worried about. Do you have your estate in order? Do you have your ducks in a row?
Yeah.
You know, do you have all those things lined up? And a lot of people don't. And a gentleman recently who I've known since 2003, I was his doctor, and I called him the Grouch because he nicknamed himself the Grouch. When we went over to his house, I actually had an estate planner go over to his house. I had a financial planner go out to his house because he was really having a hard time getting out of his house. He was amazed by the amount of love that people were pouring out to him. That it almost seemed shady to him, and he was just like, I can't believe y'all are doing all this for me. And they really reached out to help him get those things, and I never saw him cry, but they helped him get those things in order. But when he realized that his wife was going to be taken care of, there was not going to be some shenanigan that was going to try to take advantage of her after he passed. Once we had all those things in order, he teared up and said, "Now I'm ready to go. Now I'm ready to go."
Yep.
And
Ducks in a row. I love
yeah.
it. Ducks in a row.
That's all. And the reason I talk about the ducks in a row is a lady from Summit who came in, and if the family's watching, they'll know who it is. They said I could use her name, but I will not use her name. But she came in, and I can tell you exactly where she was and what room she was in with pneumonia. She comes in, and she was going to die because the pneumonia was just accelerating, and they tried everything. And she comes in, and she said, I held her hand, and she said, and she had a real shaky voice, and she said, "I've got my ducks in a row, and I'm ready to go." and she lived about another 3 or 4 days and stuff, but she had her ducks in a row, affairs in order.
Yeah. And that's what we all want.
Absolutely.
Basically, we want everything.
I like for every, it's just not an older person that needs to go get their ducks in a row. I went and did my estate planning with my estate planner, and I'll tell you, it's probably one of the best things I did for my family, and because it really made me think when I wrote the letter to my daughter and my son about what I expected from them later on. I cried during the whole process as I'm writing it, but it really puts life in a perspective of what's really important.
Absolutely.
So and I'll tell you, I've never heard a patient ever say, "I wish I had a fancier car, bigger house, worked another harder day," or whatever. It's, "I wish I would spend more time fishing with my grandson. I wish I would have spent more time with my children." So we try to, if we have enough time, we can help coordinate some of those things to make their dreams and wishes come true.
I just talked with a gentleman that drove down from Joplin today. Completely lost everything. He and his wife are in their late 70s. Now, you say lost everything. Here he comes with a big smile. And I said, "Are you doing okay?" He said, "We're fine." He said, "My wife's fine, I'm fine, both of our dogs are fine, the cat's fine, and our calf is fine. We're fine."
We're fine.
It's about perspective.
Yeah.
I mean,
It
it
is.
really
It's all
is.
about your perspective.
It is.
So before we leave our viewers today, we want to be sure to get the point out. Talk to your family doctor.
And not just your family doctor, because They need to be talking to whoever their specialist, whether it be family doctor, pulmonologist, oncologist. Ask your doctor, bring it up, because the doctor is going to be a little bit hesitant because they don't want to bust your bubble.
Yeah.
But if you bring it up, it shows that you have a comfort level of the
Knowing where you are.
knowing where you are to just at least open up the door of opportunity to discuss it. If they don't have the time to talk about it, that's where I'd like to get involved and help discuss it in a more timely manner.
All right, and Lori, I'm going to ask you, how can folks reach you? Would you give us that number?
508-1771 is the number for Hospice of the Ozarks, and we're located right behind the hospital. We'd love to have anyone stop by or give us a call if they want more information. So.
All right, Dr. Williams, Lori Day, Howe, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing this valuable information.
We appreciate it, Donna.
All right,
Can I say hi to all my former patients from private practice?
Yes, you
I still
can.
get cards, and I still call them, and they call me, and I miss you all, and stop by the hospice house or give me a call, and but hello to all my private practice patients.
Okay. Thank you for joining us for BRMC's Healthy Connection. We'll see you next week.